Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with Rethink Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 104. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at Rethink Coaching. And as always, I just want to take a moment and thank you for sharing your time with me. Time really is our most valuable asset, and the fact that you're willing to share your time with me truly does mean a great deal. So I truly appreciate you being here. I'm going to talk today about something that hit really close to home to me and was a great reminder that we need to spend more time celebrating. And I know that may seem odd that as a coach, I've got to remind people to go celebrate, but I also have to remind me to do it because I believe we live in such a space right now as humans that we are constantly in motion. We're constantly wanting to move forward. We got to get to that next phase. We got to hurry, because we've been conditioned that things have to be instant and fast, that we skip over a really important phase that can make the biggest difference in your future success. And that is celebrating milestones. And celebrating those milestones matter more than you just pushing forward. There's a danger in skipping the celebration and moving to pushing forward that could actually sabotage your success unintentionally, yet sabotage it in a way that you may not even realize you're doing. So how this came up for me is, I think I've shared with you all that I'm working on a pretty big project, something that I've never done before. And my agent and I reached a significant milestone about 10 days ago. And in the moment, I was humbled beyond belief and was so excited. And I held that space for a moment. And then he and I moved on to finishing our call together. And I immediately released the joy of that and started my focus on what's next. And that is so detrimental. And I realized it because I started to experience burnout, frustration, uncertainty, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I reminded myself it's because I didn't pause to celebrate. So I want to talk to you today about the importance of doing that and the positive impact it can have on your business and your life when you actually take a moment to pause and celebrate versus just move on. So for a lot of us who are entrepreneurs, and I want you to, if you're a leader of a company or you're in a management position, entrepreneur, real estate agent, whatever business you're in, a lot of us are kind of encoded as drivers, meaning we just go, right? That's just our personality. It's like, let's go. We got a goal. Let's move. And I like to look at it as it's just this endless treadmill of achievement. We're on it. We're going. We get to an achievement, boom, next. We get to another achievement, boom, next. The treadmill never stops. And so many of us who are high performers live on that treadmill. We live on that treadmill of drive, right? The one goal's met. We're ready to go to the next one. Let's go. That's just how we operate. However, what ends up happening when you do that is it creates an illusion of progress. It doesn't really enhance your progress, because what ends up happening is exactly what I experienced. I was burnt out, frustrated, uncertain, and I should have been riding a wave because the achievement was big. Instead, it wasn't, because I didn't get off the treadmill. I just kept going. So staying on that treadmill and moving towards that next goal is an illusion. It's an illusion that you're on track, on pace, everything is great. You're actually setting yourself up for potential pitfalls and for failing. So what is really the point of achieving if you don't stop to feel it? I want you to think about that. In your business, what is the point of achieving success, milestones, whatever you want to call it, if you don't stop to feel it? I will tell you, in the 5 minutes I allowed myself to, it felt pretty dang good. And then I flipped into let's go, because that's just my personality. Where are you doing that in your business? What is the point of achieving a level of success if we don't allow ourselves to feel it? Number 2 thing to take into consideration on this journey, if we want to move forward in a really great way, is celebration anchors progress. All right. So get off the treadmill to celebrate. What that does is it gives you evidence when you get off that treadmill and celebrate It gives you evidence that you're moving forward, right? It proves that your effort equals growth. When you just blaze right by it, you dismiss that. You dismiss that you've got growth. And it's just got to go on, got to go to the next thing. Without celebrating, what happens with your brain when you don't get off the treadmill for a minute to celebrate, your brain focuses on what's missing, not what you've gained. Think about this for a minute. You achieve a goal, it's significant. You take 2 seconds to acknowledge it, and immediately you're on to the next. What your brain sees is where you are versus where you need to be next, and it sees the gap. It sees what's missing. That's what it starts to focus on. It totally dismisses what you've gained. It's not paying any attention to that because you didn't give it a moment to. You just created another gap. I'm here, now I got to be here. This is what's missing. This is what I got to focus on. And I've totally dismissed all of the things that I've done that got me here. It's really important. So celebration is not about indulgence, right? It's reinforcement of identity. I am someone who creates results. And I think you need to own that. So celebration anchors progress. Don't skip it. Number 3, there is the psychology of pausing. There's a reason why we do this. In the neuroscience world, we know that acknowledgement of success or a milestone or a goal, whatever you want to call it, releases dopamine. You know, the really feel-good hormone that when you do something that creates that internal joy, that's what gets released. That's that dopamine. That's why we call it the feel-good hormone. You feel great in that moment. It allows you, again, when we acknowledge it, it releases the dopamine. It reinforces the habits that you did that got you there, and it builds your momentum. Critical to get you to that next step. But we got to pause long enough to enjoy the emotion that we're experiencing. When you pause to celebrate, the other thing it does is it helps wire your brain to repeat the behaviors that created the win you just experienced. If you just blast right past it, there's no time for your brain to absorb and to create a pathway that can be repeated. All of a sudden, you're just onto something else, got a whole new set of issues. You're not repeating the behaviors that got you the win, and you're risking your future when you do that. Skipping this step robs you of the fuel you need for the next level. So I want you to think about something. When you hit a goal and you moved on to the next one, how you were maybe feeling a little lethargic, uncertain, burnt out, out of balance, whatever it was, it's because you didn't pause. That's it. That is basically what is causing some of the burnout. Number 4, allow a milestone to create meaning, not just a metric. All right. This is really important for those of us who drive to the next goal, drive to the next goal, drive to the next goal. It becomes a metric and we dismiss the meaning that comes along with it. Achievements without pause become hollow. They have no soul, if you will. It's just a thing. You've checked off a box of things to do. You've treated it as a metric. Celebrating will connect you emotionally to your journey, reminding you of why it matters. So there's a universal law. I want you to think about this. Logic makes you think, emotion makes you act. If we don't take time to anchor to the emotion, right, the feeling, the emotional part of the journey, we might get stuck in logic land. I've seen this happen, and I'll be honest with you, it's exactly what happened to me. Hit this massive milestone that without hitting this milestone, we wouldn't move forward. The project would be over. Yet I hit it, and I immediately treated it as a metric, checked the box, because now we can go on to the next thing. And I was in logic land. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. And I became very, very overwhelmed. You know, logic makes you pause and think, not take action. If I would have just taken a moment to connect to it and give it meaning, would have changed everything. You know, here's what's funny is I started sharing my accomplishment with a very small group of people that are in my inner circle. They're my front row, if you will. And to watch their faces light up and to give it meaning was so impactful for me. Yet it was as if I was having an out-of-body experience. It was them celebrating, and it was almost like I was seeing them celebrate them, not me. I didn't allow it to have any different meaning than when I just dismissed it to move on to the next thing. For me, milestones having meaning is no different than, let's say you decided to run a marathon and you finished first. You won the race. You cross the finish line. And most people, when they cross the finish line, they do what? They raise their hands and they're celebrating their success. Well, what if you would have crossed the finish line and just walked right off, gone and got in your car because gosh darn it, you got another race coming up and you got to go get ready for it. No time to waste and stop and give it meaning. It was just a metric. Marathon 1, check. Next, second marathon is this. It's hillier. It's in a different region. It's at altitude. Whatever it is, you just dismissed it and moved on. If you never lift your hands in victory, it's never going to mean anything to you. It will just be a metric. Assign it meaning, get it emotional, get the feeling. It makes a difference. The fifth thing that we've got to do on this pathway to our success and on hitting these milestones is really acknowledge how we did it, how redefining our productivity, because productivity isn't just about speed. It's about sustainability. So what got you to this milestone? What got you there? And can you repeat it? Is it sustainable? If you don't pause long enough to let it rewire your brain, it doesn't become sustainable. If you don't allow your brain to reflect on the behaviors that got you the win, it will not record on your brain and it will become about speed only, not about sustainability. Celebration slows you down just enough to ensure that you're building the life you love, not just a list of accomplishments. I know when I welcome a new client into my schedule and we have a conversation, a lot of times all they're focused on is their accomplishments. That's it. They don't talk about any of the joy it brought, any of the great things it did for themselves, their family, their friends, their legacy, their team, nothing. It is just a laundry list of achievements. That can only get you so far. That creates the need for speed, not necessarily sustainability. So are you building monuments or are you just stacking bricks? Are you really, truly creating something that's sustainable, that makes you feel good that you're building something bigger, or you're just stacking bricks to check the box? I stacked 20 bricks today, got it done, versus building a permanent structure or building a monument. It's really important that you redefine your productivity to do the building something big. Number 6, celebration actually fuels the next chapter, right? The pause of the celebration doesn't slow your momentum. It accelerates it. I know for a lot of us who are drivers, we think if I stop, I'm going to get out of the groove. I'm going to get out of the flow. It's going to be really hard to get going again. So we just want to keep moving. But if you're robbing yourself of the celebration, remember all of the great things it does for you. Number 1, rewiring your brain to let the behaviors absorb and create new neural pathways to getting you to success again. If you don't pause and celebrate, you're actually harming your momentum because you're entering the next phase, burnt out, frustrated, stagnant, whatever it is. And so that pause doesn't slow momentum. You actually, once you get done celebrating, so I'm not saying take a month off. I'm not saying that at all. For me, I'm planning 2 days. Something I haven't done in a while, but to celebrate this last thing that just happened on this journey, I'm going to give myself 2 days to go have a heck of a good time, not think about anything but celebrating. And what that will allow me to do is to come back and move from where I am to the next milestone, recharged, grounded, and have a deeper sense of purpose because I will have had time to reflect on the impact it's making on my life, my family and my friends, my legacy, my team. It's big. So taking a moment to celebrate will actually fuel your next phase, your next chapter. Are you burnt out right now? Are you uncertain of how you're going to get to this next goal? If you are, is it time to pause and celebrate? Depending on where you are in life, what your financial situation is, there's a lot of variables. You've got kids, no kids, job that you can or cannot take time off. You have to figure out what that celebration looks for you. When I first started in real estate, for me, it was stressful. And every time I had a closing, I would reward myself with a spa treatment, a massage, manicure, pedicure, something that was just all about me. It was just about pampering me. It was sometimes a drive to a gorgeous park and I could just take in nature. It wasn't huge. Now I'm at a different phase of life. I'm going to take 2 days off. I might get on a plane and head to California. I might go to Vegas. I might do whatever I want to do. Just unplug for 2 days, but find what your level of celebration is that will help you and on your next step, your next phase in the journey. Celebration fuels your next chapter. doesn't rob you of it. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is, you are in control of the architecture of what you view as your fulfilled life. I heard this for the first time. I think Oprah said it. I don't know if she's the creator of this statement or not, but it landed with me, is that you get to co-create your life with God, co-create your life with the universe, whatever you believe in. For me, it's God. And I get to be the architect of that. I get to assist. Now, I believe I've got a plan, but there's a bigger plan, and the bigger plan always wins. However, I can co-create my life with God in a way that takes me to the next level. So in architecture, right? So if we're becoming the architect of our fulfilled life, that role of architect means something. Architects do what? They build the plan to get to the final product. So milestones matter in the world of architecture, right? The first thing is preparing or laying the foundation. That's the first big milestone. After that is done, we get to celebrate that we got that phase done, which allows us and unlocks the journey to the next phase. But it wouldn't happen if that first phase wasn't done. So foundation, raising a frame, topping a roof off, each step is worthy of acknowledgement. And it's really important that we do that to ourselves or to anybody that we lead. For me, when I ran a team, when I ran a real estate team, and now I run a coaching team, when we achieve a milestone, we do take a moment. I'm really good at celebrating other people. I'm not so great at celebrating me, but we do take a moment to acknowledge it, that has created the space for us to get to the next level. We're just not great at always doing it for just us when we're the only one involved in it. So what is your architecture of your fulfilled life? What does it look like? Life is the same as building a house and building a structure. Milestones are not interruptions. They're the structure of a meaningful journey. I want you to think about that. Milestones like a foundation, the frame, the roof, those are all milestones to getting towards that end product. So is your life. And the milestones and the celebration of them will actually become the structure of a meaningful journey for you. Not just a metric, not just a list of accomplishments, something really, really meaningful. So I want you to think back. We're here at the end of August. This might drop in September, I'm not sure. But here we are. And I want you to reflect on the last 9 months, 8 months. What milestones have you overlooked that deserve to be celebrated? I'm going to say this because as a business person, we've had a lot of external things happen that have created a lot of noise and distraction. Sometimes the milestone might be that you hung in there and you showed up even when the rest of the world was telling you not to, even when there was data showing you that things had changed and maybe not be possible for you to get to your goal. But the milestone might be that you said, forget it, I'm still showing up. And whenever you made that decision, that was a milestone. And you may need to go back and celebrate you for making that decision. It might be a financial goal. It might be a production goal. It might be a growth goal, like you added people to your team, or you expanded your business, or you did a different venture, like I'm doing something outside of my lane of comfort. I didn't ever celebrate when I made the decision to do this. That's a milestone. So what milestones have you overlooked that deserve to be celebrated today? It's not too late. I promise you, if you're feeling a little burnt out, a little tired, a little uncertain how we're going to push through the last part of the year, I know that's where a lot of people are right now that I have the privilege of talking to. Go back and celebrate some milestones and remember, it will ground you. It will put you back in touch with your purpose. You'll feel more balanced. You'll feel better about moving forward. So sometimes you have to step back to move forward. This is one of those times. I know that every one of you has some milestone this year, something. And it may take you a minute to realize what it is because we don't celebrate, right? If you're a driver, you've just plowed through. So you may have to really spend some time identifying those milestones that you ignored and go back and give them the time that they deserve. So I'm taking my own advice, team, and I'm going to take a couple days to go unplug and to celebrate what I accomplished. And I want you to do the same. And I want you to do it knowing that you're not harming your momentum. You're not interrupting the flow, that you'll actually be in a better place when you come back and re-engage because you took the time to celebrate. So as always, if you have a question about this or anything else, I don't care what it is. If you need some help from a coaching perspective, just reach out to me. Tony@rethinkcoaching.com is my email address. That is the best way to get a hold of me. If you're a social media type of person, you can DM me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, any of them. You can find me on those pretty easy. I'm pretty easy to find if you just go to Google. And if you're crafty enough, you'll find my cell phone. Reach out. I'm always happy to gift a 1-hour strategy session with you to help you either get unstuck or gain clarity about anything that we talked about. But here's what I'm saying. If you're feeling off balance and you're alone, you don't have to be. Just reach out and I'll be happy to help you out. So team, go celebrate and build celebration into your business plan. It's critical if we're truly committed to creating the life that we want and that we're creating the space for great things to happen. All right, we'll talk to you next week. Go make it a great week. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.